Greetings everyone, it's Dwayne and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time, welcome. What we're going to be doing today is a Quad Cortex tone recreation. So what I like to do is I take a song and then I try recreating the tone using stock cabinets and effects and everything stock on the Quad Cortex. We don't use anything paid or third-party captures or anything like that. And today the song that we're doing is Your Move by a band called Oh Brother. I personally think these guys are really underrated. They have an awesome sound, heavy but kind of like soulful at the same time, awesome vocals. I guess you could say they've got like a Radiohead quality, slash Muse type vibe about them. Anyway, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be trying recreating the tone of this song. So you can see that I've got Quad Cortex control open. And before we do anything, I'm going to turn on the noise gate. And I did do a little bit of research of what they use. It's kind of hard to pin down exactly, but we're going to try and go for something that gets close with what we have on here. So I'm thinking we're actually going to try and go for like, maybe we're going to do the Fender Twin amp style here. And for the cabinet, maybe a 212 of some kind, possibly. We want stereo as well. We probably want to use like the C12KQ. Okay, it's nowhere near what we want it to be, which means it's time to start tweaking. So maybe I think we might actually crank this amp and see how we go. It does have a little bit of treble. I think it has a little bit of mid, and we may even put a little bit of bass in there as well. See what the bright switch sounds like. Doesn't really make much of a difference to me. One thing we will also do is add in like a tube screamer, because I can definitely hear that it's got a tube screamer type boost in there. I'm guessing, knowing this band, they're using some kind of boutique overdrive pedal or something. And I also think we need a little bit of overdrive. Maybe we might turn the amp down. And we may put the overdrive down to 0. Alright, so I've got an instrumental here and we're going to play this. Okay, so I think we can hear that we've got something that sounds kind of similar to it. Now, I can hear that there's some kind of reverb in there. If I were to guess what kind of reverb was in there, it doesn't sound too overwhelming. I'd say maybe a plate might get us there. We might want to put the decay down. Maybe we'll put it up to like 50. That sounds pretty good. Now, there's something about this. It's almost like, I don't know, is there too much bass in there maybe? Maybe reset that. It's kind of like the original song has a bit of beef to it. Which makes me think, do we need to pull this down? Do we need to boost this up? And then maybe we put another overdrive in there. Maybe like the rodent drive. Hey, that sounds better. Although it does sound like that doesn't make sense to boost but then reduce the volume, does it? No, that sounds terrible. Actually, I would never have expected the gain, the distortion at 5 to like. Okay, let's compare. I think there's too much gain at the start, but then I definitely feel like when it goes into the chorus that put the delay up on the plate reverb. I definitely feel like we want to maybe dial back some of this stuff. So we're going to have our intro. And then we're going to have a heavy effect. What we're actually going to do is we're going to dial down the distortion on this. That's interesting when you take the distortion out, what happens there. We're gonna call this your move. Okay, so we've got this. This is going to be like our normal. And then on here, we're gonna call this heavy. On our heavy preset, yeah. Okay, so now we've got our two scenes in our preset. What we're going to do is we're going to play along and see basically how it stacks up to the original tone. I think we got pretty close, but ultimately it's going to come down to how it sounds when we play. Okay, so some things to unpack there. I think we got pretty close. Now, I actually was listening to that and I'm like, I don't even know if we need a normal setting. Maybe towards the end there, but I was listening to it and it had kind of like a bit of a heavy fizz sound to it. Yeah, I think you could actually get away with playing this just on the heavy preset. But the start definitely kind of... It's almost like you want the distortion to come up, but to be half. What I'm actually going to do is I've actually got an isolated guitar part on there as well. I think we can listen to. I'll put it on with some... I think that sounds pretty good. I think I played through that whole section there, the guitarless version just then, on the heavy preset, and I think it works. I think I did also use the normal in some parts, but it kind of goes to show you don't necessarily need to switch between them if you don't want to. Like if you had this sitting somewhere and you didn't want to have to control it, you could easily just get away with doing it on the heavy, but you can hear there's a difference, so... I think part of their sound is also coming from the fact, from their guitarists, like they have kind of like this heavy sound going on where I feel like there might be a compressor in there. There could also be like a fuzz pedal maybe. It's kind of got that kind of, I don't even know what you'd call it, kind of like that noise rocky type, you know, where it's like a wall of noise, there's a bit of fuzz and kind of breakup. Yeah, great song. I think we'll kind of leave it there. I think what we ended up with using the Fender style amp actually ended up working out really well. And then we had to have 2 overdrive pedals as well, as we can see. We ended up using the Tube Screamer as a boost, which is kind of like a classic Tube Screamer thing to do. And then we have the Rodent Drive with a little bit of distortion. This is for the intro, kind of less distorted sound. The amp is the same for both, so modestly at 8 and then 5 in the bass, 6 mid, 6 treble, no brights. standard 212 cabinet, and we've got the plate reverb here because I can definitely hear there is some kind of reverb in there, whether or not it's plate. This kind of, I feel like, gets you close. And then, of course, on the rodent drive, if we go into gig view and go heavy, you can see all we do is kick up the distortion to 5. So we're halving it between them, and that kind of gives you a little bit of fuzz as well because we're obviously using 2 pedals. But yeah, largely that's the sound. I feel like you could get a little bit more complicated. You could even probably use like a JSM 800 or something like that if you wanted a bit more distortion. But this sound, I feel like, is kind of like a smaller amp, but it's being driven because you can hear there's breakup and stuff in there. Whether or not that's the case, but I do know, I'm pretty certain they use like a Fender amp of some kind, or one of the guitarists did anyway. I think there's 3 guitarists in this band, which kind of explains that wall of sound that you're kind of hearing. But yeah, that's the song. Let me know how you think I did in the comments. If you have any songs that you'd like to see me try and tackle next, leave a comment below because I take requests. The preset will be linked in the description for you to go and pull down in your Quad Cortex by the time this video goes up. And if you made it to this video, I really appreciate you watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.